When it comes to Total War Warhammer and speculation of future DLCs, there is one name that is mentioned over and over again, that of the Lord of Undeath, Nagash. To say that Nagash has a legion of fans is a pure understatement. Many, including myself, have been dying to use the Lord of Undeath in battle in this amazing game series, where forum posts have been appearing through all over the darkest reaches of the internet, speculating on how he could be implemented. So I wanted to take some time today and just go over my vision on how Nagash could be implemented into the Total War Warhammer series. So without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, we need to look at his army before anything else. The Legions of Nagash are an army list that appeared during the end times of the Warhammer Fantasy universe. These units are mixed between Vampire Count and Tomb King armies, which are already represented in the game. In truth, very close to 95% of his roster is actually already inside the game, which has led many to speculate that Nagash won't be a DLC, considering that his army is already there. And in truth, many speculate that he might actually not even be content whatsoever. However, I believe otherwise, where he might actually be released as a DLC content or as an FLC content. It really depends on how Creative Assembly want to go through it. But in the worst case scenario, he'd probably be a DLC pack which would cost around, I think they're around $20 or something, it depends on Lord packs. Now, I have no affiliation with Creative Assembly, I don't know anything that they're planning or anything that they're actually doing. I just wanted to share my ideal way on how they could create a Nagash themed DLC which will be worth it for the customers and also very engaging. Now, I have no hopes that this will actually appear or even happen, but hey, one can speculate, can't they? So in regards to my ideal DLC for Nagash, my idea would be that Nagash starts by himself. This Lord pack would indeed only have one Lord. The Lord in question obviously being Nagash, starting in his seat of power of Nagashizar. This would be a walled city, naturally, with about 12 to 14 building plots. From here, Nagash must plan on how he will conquer the world, using unique traits on where he can spawn armies across various locations in the world. At first, his army should be extremely limited, using only low to mid-tier units of the Vampire Count roster. But as time progresses, he should be able to unlock not only units from the Vampire Counts, but also the Vampire Coast and the Tomb Kings. The way this could happen is by destroying or enslaving other undead races. My example would be as follows. Nagash, from his fortress of Nagashizar, would launch an invasion on Khemri. When defeating a lord or general, he will be able to enslave them and make them join his cause. So for example, if Nagash ended up enslaving Khalida, he would then be able to access Khalida as a legendary lord and her units. This would also work the same in regards to the Vampire Counts and Vampire Coast. If Nagash were to defeat Count Noctilus or Vlad von Carstein, he would then be able to recruit them and take their units with him. This would work in a very similar way on how Norska currently works, just with a few minor tweaks. There should also be a Forced Confederation style event very similar to how Bretonia currently works, where once a certain research is done, they should be able to pay a certain amount of money to force that race or faction to actually join Nagash. Naturally, also considering the size of the current Mortal Empires campaign and that we know that Game 3's Giant campaign is going to be even larger, there should also be a similar mechanic to how the mod Recruit Defeated Legendary Lords currently works. Where, say for example, if you're in the far east of the map and Count Noctilus has been defeated, you should also be given the choice to be able to recruit him, at a quite drastic fee. Now, I should not be using Count Noctilus because he wasn't there alive during the lore, but you know what I mean. It could be done with Luther Harkon because he does eventually join up with Nagash and so on. Going into a lore sense, this should actually only be available to those characters who actually joined up with Nagash during the end times. So Luther Harkon, Manfred, Vlad von Carstein, and so on. Isabella, Cetra, the Grand Hierophant, and Count Noctilus actually should not be allowed to be recruited by Nagash. As more and more legendary lords join with Nagash, his units and his roster would increase in size. Say for example in the beginning, he would begin with only zombies and very basic skeletal warriors. However, if he would recruit Vlad von Carstein, he would then get access to Graveguard units and Black Knights. If he would recruit Arkan the Black, he would then get access to maybe Hex Wraiths and maybe a Necrosphinx. This would force the player not only to expand, but also choose wisely which lord he will go after first. Nagash himself should not be playable until very late game, or at the very least available at the early game, just in a very weakened state, only getting more powerful as his pieces are reunited with him. This should give even more incentive for the player to actually launch invasions and not play very defensively. Now you might be wondering as to why I said a one Legendary Lord DLC. It is my hope that by the time that Nagash gets released, we'll have most, if not all, of his named generals already in the game. However, it is more than likely that we won't see Neferata, the Nameless and others until Nagash gets actually released. Which to me would be a shame, considering the fact that Nagash is all-powerful. There should not be sub-factions to him. Remember, this is my reasoning lore-wise, and even then Nagash wouldn't really fit here as a purist of the lore, because obviously you'd have to get rid of Volkmar, and Isabella's not there, but hey, they have their own universe as far as I'm concerned. Naturally, as a exclusive unit to Nagash's forces, we could get the Morghas, and knowing Creative Assembly's track record of, hey, let's just reskin it and give it a different weapon, we'll have about 17 variants of them. No insult intended, of course, but yeah, just look at Norska. There are a few units missing from all three factions of Undead, but given the amount of time that they've been out, I doubt we'll see them anytime soon, the Spirit Host being a perfect example. Still, with these units already being implemented in the game, it's not to say that Nagash's forces would not be unique. Picture it this way, you'd have the hordes of the Vampire Counts, the incredible cavalry of the Tomb Kings, and then the artillery of the Vampire Coast, all freely mixed within the same army. With this, you'd be able to customize your forces to suit your needs with a much greater extent, given the fact that you have 3 rosters to pick from and some extra added units. But honestly, that's pretty much my idea in regards to Nagash. What do you guys think? And how would you implement Nagash if you had the chance? And with that, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. Just a quick note before I end this video, I've been talking to a lot of you guys, and some of you guys have been mentioning Patreon and merchandise to support the channel and so on. So I've added links in the description below to a Patreon and a merch store kind of thing. It's only really got a t-shirt with the logo, it's a very classic tee. There'll be some new stuff coming in with like customized artwork and so on, but I do know some locals and some other subs who've wanted a t-shirt to support and all that. It's kind of cool that you guys want to support me that way. This is completely optional, the Patreon too. It's just helps to get something going into the channel so I can push back. In an effort to be transparent with you guys, any money earned will pretty much just go back into the channel, just upgrading the camera, some new microphones and so on. These things aren't really cheap. But I've added some stretch goal thing for Patreon. I'm still very new to this, so please, if you feel I can improve in any other way, let me know, because I am seriously lost with all this type of thing. But a lot of people have been suggesting it for a while, so it's like, well, I'll give it a shot. That being said, if we get to a certain goal, which is there listed on the Patreon page, I'll be doing a monthly giveaway for patrons and stuff like that. And hopefully in the future I can start moving the giveaways to just all my YouTube subs. I'm just trying to see what I can do. Once again, just give me any criticisms or thoughts with regards to that. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for listening to me rant for about a minute and a half, and I shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.